Welcome to the O'Connor Elder Law channel. I'm your host, Melissa O'Connor. Today I wanted to briefly talk to you about vehicles and how they are handled when applying for Medicaid. Many times people come to my office concerned that they're going to have to sell their vehicle in order to qualify for Medicaid. And many times I get to tell them the good news: your first vehicle doesn't count. So your car, if you have one car, you can keep that one car, and it's not considered an asset for Medicaid purposes, which would require you to not qualify, even if that car is a luxury vehicle. So if you happen to own a car that's worth $150,000, it's not considered an asset for Medicaid purposes, at least that first car. If you own more than one car, now does this count as an asset? Your second car would count as an asset, generally speaking, for Medicaid purposes. So you always designate your first car to be your most expensive car. There are some exceptions. If your second vehicle happens to be 7 years or older, it doesn't count either. Like many things in law, there's exceptions to the exceptions. So if your second car happens to also be a luxury vehicle, it will count. If your second car is over 25 years old, so you might think, well, I have a really old car, it won't count. If it's over 25 years old, the law considers it an antique, and it counts. And so those are some of the exceptions to the exceptions, but generally speaking, vehicles do not count as an asset for Medicaid purposes, at least your first one. Your second one would count as an asset if you individually own more than one vehicle. Unless that second vehicle happens to be older than 7 years, then you can qualify under the exception. If you have other questions about qualifying for Medicaid and what's an asset that is countable and what's not countable, reach out to an elder law attorney, and they are happy to help walk you through the Medicaid qualification process and advise you on the handling of your assets to make sure that you can qualify for Medicaid without having to completely become broke and penniless, or sell your vehicle or sell your family home. And I've heard so many horror stories. Before you start offloading assets, I highly recommend that you reach out to an elder law attorney, make sure what assets are countable, what aren't, and put in proper protections so that way you can qualify for Medicaid, get the care that you need, and also have quality of life. I hope that this content is helpful and useful to you. If it is, I ask that you like and share, and as always, I look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you for joining me.